Hey guys, welcome back. We will discuss a very important aspect of the Indian Constitution, that is DPSPs. So we'll come to this later. Let's begin with our intro using this Constitution PDF. Okay, we have completed fundamental rights in depth. So in the same manner, we will do this also, and we will go into detail of all the keywords and the constitutional judicial developments also. Okay, that is more important than just mugging up the text because in UPSC exams you have to write judicial developments also to make sense of all this. So you might have studied from book what are DPSPs, directive principle of state policies, from where they are taken, and we have already discussed why DPSP, why were they not directly incorporated as fundamental rights, because at that time the state might have been lacking of the resources. Okay, so let's begin with the very basic thing, that is definition of state again. Here it is clearly mentioning that the state has the same meaning as in part 3 that we have discussed. What is state? Parliament, union government, state legislature, state government, and all the local authorities and other authorities. The nuance here is the other authorities. If you do not know, go back to my previous videos and find the definition of state. I think in the second or third video you can find that. Okay. The thing is, DPSPs are non-justiciable, and in sometimes it is even written as non-justifiable. Okay. What does this means? It means you cannot approach the court saying that this particular government denied to do this for me or for this particular section of society. So why are they even part of this constitution? Clearly understand this. Nevertheless, fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. It is not just a written thing. The government has to use its logic and apply all these things while making laws, and even while they are not justiciable, still the court can use them to make sense whether a particular law is actually reasonable or not. Okay, we will discuss how judiciary functions using DPSPs also, how they view DPSP as enabling fundamental rights also. This is a very key concept which we will discuss. And understand this thing, duty of the state. So while making laws, state covers all things, so as high as the Parliament of India and as low as a village panchayat. All these tiers of government, even the basic, the lowest level of government, that may be a village panchayat or a zilla parishad above that, they have to keep in mind these DPSPs while framing laws. Okay, now we will see Article 38. From here begins our study of the directive principle of state policy. Okay, the state shall strive to promote the welfare of people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may social order. Okay, this is for social, political, and economic justice. I have written the keywords, and we have already discussed these things. Okay, I have asked you a question. Which one of these is the most important? Economic justice. Why? Because during the Constitutional Assembly, there were many debates. This emerged as the most important. These are means, but this is the end. The country has to finally evolve itself using the means of social and political justice so that eventually every citizen of India prospers economically. Everything on paper looks good, but if the economic condition of the common man is not made better over the years, everything fails. So you can write this in mains also, that this is the most important aspect of any justice. Economic justice has to be reached. Okay, this has two parts. 38, part 1 we have discussed. This, not part, it is known as clause. Clause 1, clause 2. Okay, so clause 2 was added using the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. This is very important, we have already discussed. It will come again and again. it has added many aspects to the constitution, many safeguards. Okay. Now let's see the text. The second one is has been added. See the number. You can go down below and see when, which year. Okay. 1978, 44th Amendment Act. Now we will discuss the text. Strive to minimize the inequalities in income and endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status, opportunities. Okay. So here we are discussing about minimizing inequalities. Why we have to do this? So that the nation as a whole progresses together. Okay. Now we will see the Article 39. This is often termed as mini constitution of the DPSPs, not the mini constitution, but mini constitution of the DPSPs. It is very powerful and it has different clauses which even enable the parliament to make laws that can even subdue the fundamental rights. We will discuss this. Okay, 39A is very simple. It is for ensuring adequate livelihood for people. We will discuss 39B and C more. Okay, these are the socialist pillars. Let's see them. 39B and C. Let's see the first text first. This is the 39. The citizens, men and women equally have the right to adequate means of livelihood. Okay. The state cannot distinguish between gender also, and everybody should have adequate means of livelihood. Okay. This is very clear to understand. Let's see the B and C. They are very powerful. Okay. The ownership and control of material resources of the community are so distributed as best to serve the common good. This is for distribution of goods and resources. This is to bring economic equality in the country. Okay. C is that operation of the economic system does not result in concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment. Okay. To ensure that few people do not become very powerful, as in case of capitalism. So these two are absolutely like directing the state to remain a socialist state, to maintain the character of socialism, as we have seen already in the preamble. These are directing the state to make sure the laws they pass are actually in favor of the common people's good. Okay, they are so powerful they can even override Article 14 and Article 19. We have discussed this. Okay, using this when we were discussing fundamental rights and when we discussed this particular 31C, we knew 39B and 39C can be used by the parliament to make certain laws that are distribution of resources among the people of the India, so that it is for everyone's good. Okay. 39A. Also make sure you understand difference between this and this. This means 39th article A clause, or 39(1) means clause 1. It can be both, whatever it is written. This means a totally different article, 39A in capital. Okay. So this particular article in the DPSPs was added using the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Free legal aid, equal justice. Okay, I'll discuss this. Even if the courts are functioning well, even if the judiciary is doing everything good, there are certain section of society or the people who are so economically disadvantaged, they might not be even able to go reach the courts. They cannot even uh, file a petition for themselves using basic services of a lawyer. Okay, so where these people will go? Surely they will reach the executive to make them do certain good for them. But who will ensure that certain things are made in such things, because the executive administrative system of India is already burdened with a lot of things. Okay, so NALSA, NALSA, National Legal Services Authority. At every level it is formed. At state level is also there, and at district level is also there. Okay, so this ensures that people who do not have the resources to be able to be part of a judicial system, go to the judicial system and ensure that their rights are preserved, they can reach this, or state legal services authority or the district level. Okay, there they can avail the services which are provided by these authorities. This is to make sure that justice is available, but it should be equally available for all. It should not be that people who are poor are outside the reach of judiciary. Okay, Gandhian cluster. Okay, so we'll discuss 40, 43, 46, 47, and 48 at once. Okay, why? These are representing the Gandhian or socialist philosophies, and also socialism has different meanings in different parts of the world, like communism, etc. But here in India, it is kind of Gandhian socialism. It is a mix of Marxist or communist. Okay, so 40 is for ensuring formation of village panchayats. But in India, actually, village panchayats have been in existence for a long time, but there was no constitutional mandate. You understand what is a constitutional mandate? A constitutional mandate is a power that nobody can deny. So if it is written in the constitutional text itself, the government has to form it. Okay, so in the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment, provisions for urban local bodies and rural local bodies was formed. It is a three-tier system. We will discuss this in detail. Okay. Right now, understand this. These rural local bodies, Panchayat is one of them. Okay. It is a three-tier structure. So, this Article 40, which ensures that Panchayat should be formed and running smoothly, was actually made completely a constitutional mandate using these two articles. Remember this, 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. So for around 40 years, this DPSP was just a DPSP and it was not having a constitutional mandate, but now it has. So in every part of the country, each village has its form of village panchayat. Okay. Now we will see the 43rd. This is for ensuring living wages for workers working in different like smaller industries, and for ensuring smooth working of cottage industries, etc. Let's see the text here. Sometimes what happens is we have to also look into the text. Equal pay for equal work. I have not given much importance to these because these are basically easy to understand. No disparity or no uh, pay gap using gender as a discrimination. Okay. Easily understand. Maintaining health and strength of workers. Okay. This is for equal justice. Panchayats. Okay. We will discuss later these two, 41, 42. We are now discussing the Gandhian cluster of DPSPs. The state shall endeavor to secure by suitable legislation or economic organization or in any other way to all workers, agricultural, industrial, or otherwise work a living wage, conditions of work, ensuring a decent standard of life and full enjoyment of leisure and social and cultural opportunities, and in particular the state shall endeavor to promote cottage industries on a individual or a cooperative basis in rural areas. Okay, so understand this thing. The constitution itself is giving a wide scope to the government to apply these. It can be through a legislation, any organization, or in any other way. Legislation, the statutes passed by the parliament or state legislature. So I would remind you certain things like the Factories Act, which ensure safe living conditions or safe working condition for the workers, or the Industrial Disputes Act to maintain harmony in industrial areas. Economic organization, I think, like you can say like EPFO, they ensure people are getting provident funds, etc. But we are over here discussing for the unorganized workers also. So certain legislation like Manrega, which is now changed, so these ensure that workers living in the corners of the country who are not organized also, so and they are working like not in a very decent condition, the parliament and the state legislature and even the lower hierarchy of the administration should ensure that they are having a decent level of work, safety, and health measures. Okay. It is also mentioned that the state shall endeavor promotion of cottage industries or cooperative. Okay, individual or cooperative basis. Now we'll come back to that. Let's see the 43A. Okay, let's first see that slide which I have made. We have covered this cottage industries. Now we will see 43B. Okay, we have done that. Promotion of cooperatives. Certain thing is missing. I think 46th. Okay, we have to see the text. This is for union making. This is for ensuring that the workers who are working in factories or establishments also get a say in the management decisions also. UCC will see later. Let's see the 46th. The state shall promote with special care the education and economic interest of the weaker section of education of the people and in particular of scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, and shall protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation. So here this particular DPSP is making the state, they have like making the state understand that they have to keep this in mind, that certain weaker sections of the people and in particular the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, that they do not suffer from social injustice and any kind of exploitation. And to, I think, to make sure that this is done, various legislations have been passed by the parliament. '47, this is for nutrition and health, and this is for promotion and safety of agriculture and animal husbandry and safety of cattle, etc. Okay, so that is complete. Gandhian cluster is complete. Now we'll see the 41st. Okay, 41, right to work, education and public assistance. The constitution mandated the state that they have to ensure this education, public assistance and work has to be made. How the parliament actually made sure this? Manrega. Now it is changed to G Ramji. VB, Viksit Bharat, G Ramji. Okay. Education was made through what? Giving scholarships, grants, etc. Right to education. Now this is a fundamental right. So in a way, this education aspect has been covered using the rights to education, and for higher studies, Government give grants and scholarships. Okay, public assistance is provided through pensions, grants, schemes, for example, like health schemes. Okay, now we'll see the 42nd. Let's see the text for this. We'll see the text for both 41 and 42 so that you can understand this also at the same time. The state shall, within the limits of economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, to education, and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness, and disablement. So it is very clear what I have written. It's the same meaning. I'll repeat it. That state shall endeavor to make sure that people who need employment get employment, people who need educational support get education, either free or in through state run schools or through right to education act, etc., and those in old age or sickness get sufficient help from the government or the state. Okay, provision for securing just and humane conditions. Humane means humanly, that means a life with safety and dignity. Okay, humane means not just animal existence. We have discussed a lot of times this in the article 21, that living is not just animal existence, it is a life with dignity. Okay, so for this 42nd, the state made this through the parliament, paid leave to the expectant mothers, and for this particular, what was this text, conditions for work and for maternity leave. This is not just for women but for the workers also. So for them, occupational safety laws such as the Factories Act, EPFO, Industrial Disputes Act, they have been passed. Okay, now we will see the liberal intellectual cluster. Who are liberals? What is liberal? We will discuss all this in detail in the political concepts. For now, understand liberal is someone who is ensuring that everybody has access to education, has access to good employment. Liberal means those who are opposed of orthodox thinking. Liberal means somebody who is in support of equality and forward looking nation. Okay, intellectual means people who are kind of very educated and forward looking in their approach, and they want well for the nation. Okay, so 44th is for ensuring UCC, Uniform Civil Code. Okay, this is not just for religion, but this ensures gender equality and national integration. True, because if this is there, everybody benefits. The only state in India which has it is Goa. Okay, now we'll move to 45. This was actually initially available for up to 14 years, but after RT was made, right to education, so now this is for early childhood care, 0 to 6 years. Okay, ensuring healthy and good and proper growth of children. You can see the text, I'll show you. The things which I have written is the things which have to be, okay, see the text. Now we will look into the 50. Bedrock of judicial independence, separation of the state shall ensure the separation of judiciary from executive. Can you understand why this is very important? The functioning of judiciary has to be very much different, and the administrative officers should not be given any judicial task. We will understand in the this in the administrative machinery of the states, how certain times judicial things are taken by magistrates also. So to ensure everything of judicial in nature remains separate from executive power. This is made. Okay. Let's see the text. If we have missed something, then we will come to the judicial development of this aspect and its comparison with the fundamental rights. Public health, okay. Agriculture and animal husbandry, okay. Protection of environment, I think we have not discussed this. The state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. It shall be the obligation of state to protect every monument, place or object of artistic, historic interest declared by or under the law made by Parliament to be of national importance from spoliation, disfigurement, destruction, removal, disposal or export as the case may be. All those historical significant places in India shall be protected by the state. Why this is important? To make sure the culture of India is intact and we respect the culture. Okay, the state shall take steps. Okay, we have discussed this. Promote international peace and security, maintain just and honorable relations between nations. Okay, foster respect for integration, international law and treaty obligations in dealings of organized peoples with one another, encourage settlement of integrational disputes. Complete. This is for the state for ensuring that India as a whole, in terms of geopolitical situation, remains in a good state and maintains good relations with all the countries around the world and the people. Okay, that there was nothing to discuss over there because there was no judicial development. Now we will see the judicial developments because we have seen the judicial developments of FRs, different FRs. Now it is turn to see the judicial developments. I am focusing on these more because this is more important. You could find on YouTube lectures explaining every right, every DPSP, but I rarely find these integrated into them. There is always a fight between fundamental rights and DPSPs, which is higher over the other. Dispute has been settled, but somehow there is still a edge to either which one is better. No one is better or no one is supreme. We will understand how. Okay. The first important case is Champakam Dorairajan. Remember this name? 1951. In this case, the Supreme Court of India clearly stated that fundamental rights are supreme, they are superior, and DPSPs are subsidiary. Okay, very clear. In the Golaknath case, they again reiterated this, but even with more conviction. They use the word sacrosanct, completely non changeable. Like it has to be respected in every way, and any part of it cannot be changed. Okay, so cannot be changed, removed, or deleted fundamental rights. But later we will discuss that now the parliament also has power to change the fundamental rights or delete them as they have deleted the right to property, but within a certain limitation that according to the basic structure doctrine. Okay, in the next class we will discuss every doctrine. And fundamental rights cannot be and shall not be diluted for implementing DPSPs. Understand this? In Golaknath case, Supreme Court clearly iterated with much more conviction that fundamental rights are supreme, sacrosanct, and they cannot be diluted in any case. This case changed all. Okay, Minerva Mills case 1980. Supreme Court gave the balanced wheel theory that both of them are wheels of the same chariot. Chariot cannot move without either one. So we have to maintain the balance. Neither one is superior. Okay, the state has to ensure balance. Now there is a philosophy or the doctrine of harmonious construction. Whenever there is a fight between two clauses or anything like A and B, Parliament, what they have to do is to make sure when they are creating a law, it should give importance to both to the extent as much as possible. Okay. And while judiciary is scrutinizing any law made by the parliament, they also follow this, that they have to make sure that both of them are given equal respect, neither of them are made subdued or the other one is made superior to the other, giving effect to both as to the extent possible, and to make sure both do not cut each other, both should function freely. Okay. Remember this word harmony. There should be a harmony between fundamental rights and DPSPs. Balance between fundamental rights and DPSPs is a part of the basic structure of the Constitution of India. We have discussed this basic structure doctrine. You know what it is? This is something not even the parliament can take away. So our parliament is not a sovereign. Okay, India's parliament is not sovereign, but UK's parliament is. Even India's judiciary is not supreme, but USA's judiciary is. We will discuss why we have taken everything from outside constitution, but we have not taken everything exactly. Our system is a bit different from everybody. Okay. The edge point over here is still harmony prevails. Neither is superior, both are important. But in a particular case, using this 31C, fundamental rights 14 and 19 can be made like less equal than the DPSPs. Only those one, 39B and 39C. So only in this particular case, the DPSPs prevail over fundamental rights. Only those 14 and 19. This will take a time for you to understand. We will take up this point again also. Yes, DPSPs and fundamental rights are equal. Everything okay. Both are part. Balance between them is a part of basic structure. Yet the edge point you have to remember is still there is a article which empowers the parliament that you can only in case of implementing these particular 39B and 39C DPSP. This is for giving equality distribution of resources. Okay. So for giving this, you can somehow make 14 and 19 less equal than the DPSPs. Okay. Okay, very important point. DPSPs are not something that are only non-justiciable. These are nothing as sort of like powerless creatures. They have their own importance. While making law, Parliament has to again and again look whether they are implementing DPSPs, whether they are actually moving in a direction which is correct as per the Constituent Assembly of India. Whether judiciary is actually interpreting the constitution in a right way, or even while interpreting fundamental rights, in many judicial cases the judges actually look into the DPSPs also. This gives the intent of the Constituent Assembly. DPSPs are so important somehow because they show a direction to both, not just the state, but using the recent judicial developments to the judiciary also. Like where the intent of the framers of the constitution was pointing towards which intent, like this is the direction in which we want India to move forward. Okay, that's why using DPSPs actually using DPSPs to expand the meaning of fundamental rights. Okay, what this means is the fundamental rights are understood, interpreted in light with DPSPs also sometimes when maybe the interpretation might not be clear. Okay, so this was it, guys. Now we'll see the constitutional text using that PDF. While this is opening, so these are fundamental duties. We have covered fundamental rights. We have covered actually starting from the preamble itself. Then part 1, citizenship, we have just seen, and later we moved to fundamental rights. We discussed everything in depth, including the judicial developments. The same thing which we did today for DPSPs. We also understood what is more important. Neither one is more important, but when the edge things come, only in particular case of 31C, using that article, Parliament can sometimes subdue the article 14 and 19 for 39B and 39C, distribution of resources, equality, reduction in inequality in society. Okay, this is the completion of DPSPs. Now I would give you a task to everybody here also, and to the ones watching on YouTube, that you have to make questions, or you can do the PYQs of all the exams, not just CSE. Make a habit of doing PYQs of all the exams conducted by CSE, NDA, CAPF, CDS, so that you can also do every level of question. Okay, so do for fundamental rights and DPSPs and comment down what was your problem, and to the guys sitting here, you can tell me directly. Okay, so thank you so much. See you later.